Some of the dominoes are falling in the world for the LGBT population, and some walls are going up. And I think it's pretty frightening the rate some of the walls are going up. So I wanted to come and say, listen, it's very important to be inclusive of everybody.
I want to thank you all for making us feel so welcome in Kiev.
This isn't the first time you've come to Ukraine, or in fact the first time you've talked about this. I think it was in 2011 you said Ukraine's far behind on gay rights and needs to wake up.
Yes.
Well, since then there's a new government here, a reformist government, pro-Western, pro-European. Do you think things are changing?
They are changing gradually, yes. But we're going to meet with the president in a minute after you, to meet President Poroshenko, and we're going to ask him to speed things up a little bit, if he can.
You brought your own personal story here today in speaking to business leaders about the problems you'd had as a younger man in a less tolerant Britain, and the sort of fear that gay people can feel.
In the 50s and 60s, it was, no one talked about it. And for gay people, it was just a horrible place to exist. I'm so proud that I live in a Britain now which has completely changed over the last 15 to 20 years. I never dreamt that would be possible. I want it to be possible for everyone in every country in the world. But unless I try and do something, unless I say, listen, I'm not frightening, you're not going to catch gay from me. You're not going to, because you're in the same room. I mean, I did a thing in Russia, and that old thing they keep bringing up from time to time, in speeches, it's, we want our children to be safe. It's like, give me a break. Give me a break. You're president of Russia and you say stupid things like that?
You're talking about Russia now and the law that's been passed to ban what they call gay propaganda, but you've been using your popularity there to try and reach out to the Russians. Some people might have said, for a country that has laws like that, maybe we shouldn't go. I mean, some artists have boycotted going to Russia, but you decided not to.
There's several people that said, I don't think you should go. But we have projects in Russia, and we have a lot of gay people that have HIV, and we look after them. We asked them, and they said, please don't cut us off. Don't isolate us. If you isolate people, it gives them no hope.
You've been reaching out to the Russians actually a very long time. I think your first concert there was in 1979 when it was the Soviet Union. Why do you particularly feel the need to be involved with your musical supporters in this part of the world?
I like them. I like the Russians. When I went there in 1979, I was astonished how friendly and kind and lovely they were.
We're back in the USSR. Back in the USSR.
And that's probably the only power I have, is to use my fame and fortune to bring people together for music, and then try and use the message of peace and acceptance and inclusion afterwards in my older age. I probably wouldn't have done this when I was 40 or 50 because I wasn't mature enough to do it. I was drunk. I was a drug addict.
You reach out to people through your music, and you try to reach politicians. Do you think that you can influence President Putin in Russia?
Oh, that's a big question. Probably not. I don't know. But I'll have a go. I'd love to meet him. I'd love to sit down with him and talk to him. There's probably pie in the sky, but unless you try, unless you put your foot in the water, your toe in the water, at least if I meet him and say, listen, come on, let's have a cup of tea, let's talk about this. He may laugh behind my back when he shuts the door and calls me an absolute idiot, but at least I can have a conscience to say I tried.
And you would say to him what?
I said, come on, this is not, gay people are not the problem here. They are not the problem of the world. The world faces much bigger problems than gay people. Be accepting, and let's all pull together and try and solve the problems of the world. But don't isolate and be prejudiced against gay people.